So the truth is, you've been wasting a load of money, and I want to stop that like real quick. This alone will usually increase your sales by 200 to 300%. I want to shoot myself when I see this kind of thing.
I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh, I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Evan. Evan, why the hell you're here?
I'm here to learn from the master. I've built a YouTube funnel helping people how to get 1 million subscribers plus on their channel. It's a higher ticket, $1,000 program, not super high ticket, but kind of high ticket. And we want to get more sales. We want to make it better. And Thorsten said, listen, man, let me look at your funnel. He dove in. He told me that it sucks. And he's got lots of ideas to fix it. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here to learn. He said, get your tissues ready. So I don't have tissues, but I have sleeves that I can use just in case. And I'm ready to be, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn.
Okay, let's do this. I'm going to take you to a couple of things. It's usually better if we start with some softer blows, Why don't you be so kind to open up your own YouTube advertising campaign and screen share yourself so you can see it with your own eyes while I point you where we're going to go. Because guys, we're going to actually go live into his account. Evan was so nice to actually allow us to see the data. And we're going to talk about like really the nitty gritty. Like this is no cookie cutter stuff. We're not pulling any punches here, but the goal is to get more people to be able to enjoy your awesome content because the program is really amazing. So the truth is, you've been wasting a load of money, and I want to stop that like real quick. So guys, here's what we're looking at right now. What you're seeing is the main view from his account with all campaigns that are currently live. You see it like this, right? This is your usual view, I guess. When you look into your own YouTube account, or you guys do, this is what you see. You see just the campaigns on the left side if you have the campaign overview, and you see a bunch of conversions here. Problem is, of course, YouTube tracks, like in any kind of more complicated funnel, dozens of conversions at the same time. And that's exactly the first thing we have to fix, because some of these conversions are leads. Some of these conversions are people actually showing up in your webinar. And some of these conversions are people visiting your sales page, right? And some are actually buying the product, hopefully. In your case, sadly, not so much, but we're going to get to that later because, I mean, that's what we're here to fix, right? So if I go to segment and then conversion and conversion action, that's where the real meat is. So here we see that the campaigns now became a lot bulkier, because now I can see, like, for example, this campaign spent 2,000 Canadian dollars. We are looking at the past 6 weeks roughly. And of these, this is, I think, towards your book funnel, right? Built to serve as your book funnel.
Yeah. And maybe just to give context, Canadian dollars to US is what right now? 1 Canadian dollar is 75 cents US dollars. So not quite equal, but almost.
Almost. It hurts almost as much if you push it down the drain. Because here you can see you spent like 1,700 and you only got 7 conversions. Now they are thankfully sales, but we're going to look at that campaign a little bit later. For now, let's just get to the point where we're actually giving you some meat and potatoes, and then we can fix the details later. So this is the first campaign we can look in. There's about 900 in net spend in the last 6 weeks or so. And this goes to webinar registrations, right? So these are the people who are actually coming up to see your webinar. The first thing you see relatively quickly is 64% actually show up in the live room. That is pretty good. So what you should be seeing is a lot of these people actually coming in and buying. Like if you have a 1% conversion rate from leads, this should already be working. In your price range, good conversion rate is 2 to 5%. So let's say this should translate into 5 sales. But if we check out the conversions that we're seeing here, those are registrations, there are sales page visits, replay visits. These are the live rooms, and this is the checkout order page, no buyers. How come? Well, there can be multiple reasons, right? And we're not going to have time to actually tear down the entire webinar. But what you see immediately is something that we will have to look at once we check out the funnel. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to dive into this ad group and the ad group that you're seeing here. And this is the most successful ad where you see all the conversion numbers, which we saw actually under this one. And like always, when we can actually click through, you see the landing page. And then let's just do a test registration right now so people can actually follow through with the funnel. So I have my trusty fake email addresses here that you can ignore. And there's a few things that immediately pop out to me once I see this page. What do you think could be missing on this page? You as a professional YouTuber and guy who's in front of the camera all the time.
A video?
Wow, the candidate has 500 points already. Yeah, listen, there's 2 reasons you need a video on your webinar landing pages. And just to give you some context, guys, in case you haven't dived into my earlier videos before, I not only do YouTube campaign optimization, but we run one of the largest webinar training programs in Europe. And in order to get people through to your webinar, what you need to do is 3 things on this page. 1, you actually need a video, why I will tell you in a second. 2, you need to get all the traffic you're getting, which is most likely 90% mobile, because that's where YouTube's traffic is coming from these days, to use the desktop whenever you can, because all webinar softwares aren't created equal, but they're all equally when it comes to using your mobile device in terms of actually accessing the content, seeing even the slides properly. You know, you share a lot of very valuable information in your webinar from what I saw, and people can't even read this if they're on their mobile phones, even on like a 6-inch mini tablet, no chance. So what this real estate here needs to be is A, video, B, you telling them to actually switch to the desktop and or to a laptop if they have, and C, and this is also pretty important, make them realize that they need some uninterrupted time from that. That's what we put in there, because those people showing up into your inside your webinar aren't worth anything if those people aren't able to get something from the webinar. And this is something that has less to do with your campaigns, but a lot to do with conversion here. And the reason we do a video, and that's super important, is something very technical that just happened in the last couple of months. When I now click through the webinar room, I'll do that here real quick. You see that this waiting room says another 4 minutes. And so we're going to go back so I can talk about this page, and I just open this in a new tab. I'm going to get back to that in about 5 minutes, because what's happening right now is if there is no video on this page, new technology guidelines that were used mostly by Google, but also then later all other browser software offers, lead to the fact that you can't do video in a way that includes autoplay and sound at the same time. And even worse, sometimes when people don't actually have interacted with your page with video, sound is deactivated completely. And as we will see in a second, hopefully, because I already did this a couple of times, once the webinar actually starts, there will be a little icon on the top right corner, and it will show with 3 red dots that the webinar is running, but there is no sound. And people who don't know that they have to go up here and right click and then manually switch on the sound will not hear a single thing from you talking for the entire webinar. And if you have a video here that gets people to actually click play manually, this will not happen. So yes, it's important to put a video here in order to get people into the webinar. Yes, it's important to tell them, hey, you know what, go there and do this thing. Make sure you access that on desktop. But you actually want to do this just for technical reasons. And this alone will usually increase your sales by 200 to 300% if you don't have it. And I don't know how many sales you actually had here, tracked only 4 over the last couple of weeks, but that's super important stuff. I know it's like really technical, but all you have to do is put a video here and don't switch it on autoplay, and all of a sudden people start watching your webinars.
Right, so that's not an autoplay video. You want them to actually click play.
Yes, because you only have 2 options, autoplay or non-autoplay. You can't do anything with fancy animations, so you have to bite the bullet and do a headline above the video that says, please watch this right now, it's very important, and then get people to do this. This is like a really easy fix, and it's costing you sales to a degree that you will feel the pain once you actually start putting this in and see them coming in. That's like the first and most important thing that I wanted to share with you right now, because this is literally costing you sales since as long as this campaign is running. And as far as I know, it's been a couple of months already, right? This hasn't been live just for a couple of weeks. I'm going to check right now. You can see it in the curve usually. Yeah, these campaigns, some of them, not Like this one has 3,000 in ad spend. It's probably running for 2 or 3 months. That goes to the webinar. The retargeting also has a couple $100. So yeah, there's been quite some money spent on this. And what happens is usually people switch off perfectly well-running webinars for things like this, for little tiny tidbits that just don't work and that make it a huge pain in order to look at them like for a longer period of time, from my perspective, because it's so easy to fix, and if you don't do it, you're just wasting your money.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at one of your main landing pages. We were obviously there before because that's what I did in order to click through. This is your book funnel, right?
Yeah.
Just because I saw this, I know you are coming from YouTube, but this needs to be a video from Vitalytics or Wistia. We're going to tear down both funnels because you're spending on both. Sorry, I didn't warn you before, but I'm going to look at
That's okay.
This needs to be like a Wistia or a Vitalytics video that autoplays a Giphy, either one that comes native from the platform, like for example, Wistia allows video thumbnails, and you can just have some text overlay that says, hey, start this video right now, while part of the video is already playing in the background. This increases the amount of people who actually click through here massively. So the cost on conversions here, and they're pretty high, like 3 times the price of the book. Also, I don't know if you tested this, but usually doing actual free plus shipping first rather than 25, and then what you're doing right now, like trying to ask full price for the thing from a video straight ahead, really, really hard to do. So I would go free to shipping first. And you as a video guy, like I was a little bit confused. This is your prime real estate on desktop. Now, granted, on landing pages, people are usually, when they're coming from mobile, a little more inclined to scroll. But if your video is supposed to do the heavy lifting, this page needs to look pretty much like there's a headline that's, basically at maximum takes as much space as goes here. And then underneath, either on the left, like it's here, or front and center, is the video. And there can be a subheadline, but it has to be in that little space, because otherwise what happens is what happens here. I have to scroll all the way down in order to see that button. And I don't start the video automatically, so I'm not engaged by the page. And when I now would look at this in mobile, then you would actually see that, I don't know if I can set this up here, but then you would actually see that it gets even further down. Another thing from a design perspective, which I would always test immediately, is always pick another call to action color for the button than what you have in headline blurbs, because people might not actually know that they can click here in order to get ahead from a subconscious perspective. This alone is guaranteed to reduce, if you do those 3 things, like put a video that autoplays a Giphy, clean up the things so people don't have to scroll, and make sure that the button is actually call to action based like it is, but in a different color so it doesn't look like a headline. These 3 things alone, I would say 10 to 20% better conversion rates or cost per conversion, almost guaranteed, unless we have something that makes it way worse on the next page. Now let's see. You see this right here, top right corner? You know how many people actually know that this button exists who are using this?
Nobody.
Yeah. So your entire webinar will play, and because you're somebody who's very engaging with his voice, your slides are also formatted in a way where you talk about one slide, which, by the way, if you and Tony Robbins are on the slide, I would do that too, for a prolonged period of time. I think this webinar is broken, nothing is happening because I don't see any movement. Oh, there's something happening, I wonder, but most people who don't talk about it like this, they're already gone. So like you literally killed it there. And like from a YouTuber perspective, it makes sense, right? You have 5 seconds to capture the attention. So, and in order to fix this, people have to click here, put this button, click on done. Sorry guys, some of the settings are still in German. I'm switching to this next video. And
did we even edit the webinar to say something? Like if maybe they didn't click play on the first one. I get what you said, webinar landing page, put a play button so that it's fixed.
What we do is we have automated chat messages reminding them that they should actually click here. Then we have the tutorial how to click here and do this inside the video. Like a year ago when this started coming up, I just created a reusable GIF-like snippet that I can show in all of my videos or presentations real quick. and I just talk over that, where inside the video I put on this page, I actually show them. And by the way, in case you don't have sound, this might happen, because in rare cases, even if they have this video here and even if they press play, they might not see this. And I can also sometimes put this picture here, but since Everwebinar changed technology recently, this might not be available right now. Last thing that's very important before I forgot it here, this is super confusing for people. I mean, you want to offer an extra service, right? You want to give them the free growth map, but make all those links that aren't going to your webinar, please, pretty please, with a cherry on top, open in a new tab, because you paid to get people here and now you're wanting to get them something extra. You know how many people use the back button, especially if they don't understand what's happening? Very few. Most common used button is close. And you never say that this actually goes to Messenger. So they don't know that that is going to happen right now. Maybe you say it in the ad, but like most people have attention spans, in this case, 15 to 20 seconds max. So what happened 3 minutes ago might already be completely gone. For this one, same, you take them to the group, then you have this little video thing here. I can't click that, but oh, I'm already 3 pages away from where I started. How do I get away from here? I don't see the X. Okay, what is this? Is this a Facebook page? Is this a group? It's an open group. Okay, then I don't even see, you have to register in order to see everything thing. What do I do here? I don't know, but I'm gone. Like the last thing I do is go back to the webinar. Now you have to hope that I actually get one of your emails. So if you wanted to do these, actually make it very, very easy. You can just use HTML to make sure that this opens in a new tab. You can do this, and then like not much worth.
Easy to fix.
Yeah. And this is also something you really, really shouldn't do. Copy paste your email text here, because you literally tell them, reply to this email with what's your biggest growth problem, and they aren't reading an email. They have no idea why you're saying that. So everything that confuses them, you should really stop.
Got it. Okay. And for the whole sound on thing, do you put that at the beginning of the webinar as well?
For the webinar page itself, I use this as something that is running in the background in the first 30 seconds to 60 seconds. So they see the animation for it. If you don't have sound, do this. Because what I realized is, even if I'm the fastest clicker in the world and I time it precisely, in my own webinars, the first 10 to 20 seconds, I don't tend to get to see. So most people aren't as trigger happy as I am when they come to a webinar. It might be 3 minutes late, it might be 1 minute late. Even if they're happy to see you, even if they're live in the room, as you saw earlier when we did this, it took a little while to load. And this is time that your webinar is running. So the first minute, even though I used to hate this because I started my webinars basically like a stage presentation, like full on high energy, go. I put these things in, you put a countdown timer, you put this stuff in, and I literally have, either if you're not hearing me speak or if you're not hearing any music, you won't hear the sound of the video. Please do what you're seeing right now. So it's basically like, this is a static headline. Maybe I even have pointing arrows that are moving. And then underneath I have something like your branding. And then in the middle, I have the animation going, the animated GIF. So basically like a little bit of static text, but the rest is things. Takes a good designer who has worked with GIF software before, less than 20 minutes to set this up. If you do it yourself, the easiest thing to do is just do it as a PowerPoint presentation, animate the slides through, record it as you click through with the headlines being, and your branding being safe and the lower part being done. And then you put this in the beginning, cut this in the beginning of your automated webinar. That's it. With live webinars, it's usually not that much of an issue, because you can just tell people in the text, hey, in the chat, hey, can you guys do anything? Can you hear me or whatnot? So these are like I want to shoot myself when I see this kind of thing, because I mean, you've been spending some money on this one. If I look into the campaigns that I'm seeing here right now, I see that like 28,000 in video campaigns. Granted, a lot of this is growth, but you're not around. Sorry to say it like this, but like, this is for your book. You spend 6,000. Your views campaign is 10,000. By the way, we can talk about this another time, but you could get way more leads even with your views campaign later, just by focusing it on the videos that you link to in the subscription box, and just take the the top 100 ones that you're running a view campaign to. And in those videos description, if you don't have anything important, let them get back to your webinar. I've seen people completely liquidate their views campaigns with just that one strategy bit, because, well, once they've seen 2 or 3 videos of yours, if they do something else, then click on that card at the end of the video. They usually want to hear more about what you have to say, even if you don't make a call to action at the end of the video manually. So, but like, let's look at this one. This is all for the webinar, and we see here you got 460 registrations here and 104 over here. And as you can see, the 64 here, the live room visits, those are just from this campaign. Apparently, when this was being tracked, your technical guy must have changed something. So back when I first saw this, I thought, oh, because what would be really bad is if you have like 500, 600 people signing up for the webinar and only 60 showing up. That would be horrible. That would be the point where you just shoot yourself. So because people who see you are so engaging, are so engaged with you, and you have really great ads where people already love you before they come to the webinar page. I'm guessing you don't have that issue that much. Good for you. But what they clearly don't do is change to mobile, and what they clearly don't do is actually like enjoy the webinar as it's supposed to be, most of them. And that shows in conversion rates. Now, walk me through this real quick. This is a channel where you don't even promote the webinar, as far as I know, but still all your course sales are coming from this campaign. Do you know what's going on here? Should we look at it?
I have no idea what that, I mean, I know what that is. So I have a new channel, Top 10 Rules of Success, that I promote my videos against my main channel.
So you promote new videos against videos in your main channel that have a lot of views.
Yeah, against the whole channel. I promote new videos on my top 10 channel against my main channel. The whole goal of this is just to give exposure for the top 10 channel. I have no idea how it's leading to conversions for the YouTube course. We don't talk about the YouTube course at all.
So these are basically your only sales that you're tracked here. Like if you look at the complete breakdown, we just saw 4, right? And if I go into like total, let's say video and discovery, because display you really don't have that much. We see all your conversion actions, and course sales are 2 here, another 4 here, and pretty much 1 down here in the discovery campaign. So that's it. So you have 7 sales that are tracked. I don't know how many it are in total. Do you have any numbers for how much you've been making in the past couple of months on this one that are attributable to YouTube? Yeah, here we would have seen it in one list. But like according to this, you've spent several $1,000s on these kinds of campaigns and have made absolutely no sales that we can actually know how to track that are coming from that one. So at this point, I would just completely pull everything out and reevaluate. We don't have that kind of time. That's why I decided we can just look at this one and just pretend like those sales are somehow coming from here. And from what you're telling me right now, that's actually almost impossible, because the news channel, from what I saw, has 0 links back to the webinar.
Yeah, I have no idea how that's being tracked. I mean, the only thing I think of is they're hardcore fans. They're subscribers of my main channel. Then they go watch my other channel, and then they get served up some ad for the YouTube growth bootcamp, the course. And then they click through.
Guys, this is, by the way, something where I have to actually say a good word about this. I mean, already having this tracking with the different conversions in, I sometimes come into accounts where there's not even like 1 or 2 conversion actions set, and people have been spending tens of thousands of dollars and wondering why they're not getting any sales, or they're seeing sales on the back end, but they have no idea where they're coming from. So even that they are theoretically being tracked helps. But from what I see, this is literally the page, the campaign that pushes the most towards the webinar, and this is mostly for the book.
Yep.
Yeah. And I would actually switch that around, by the way, and we can go into strategy a little bit later. But like,
switch what around? The budgets?
Yeah, because your funnel with the book funnel, I mean, I don't know how you're breaking even on this one, let alone being profitable, but you're spending $80 on a $25 conversion. Then after taxes, I don't know, and payment provider costs and refunds, you're probably netting maybe 15 on this one. And then you have to make another $65 for the same person. Whereas if you would spend the same amount of money in a webinar funnel, and then the second thing they get from your email series is, by the way, I have this new book which goes really well with the webinar, free plus shipping, here, go fetch it. You can take the same book, make the bonuses more into an upsell, and make the total order value even higher than 25, but the free plus shipping one maybe $7 or $8. And you will get a ton of sales from that, usually in the 5 to 10% conversion range. Whereas here, I mean, like you see the 80 conversions here, right? I don't even know do we see clicks right now? Probably not. I have to go switch that on real quick. Or scroll, maybe it's on the right. Yeah, here's clicks. So you get 3,000 clicks, and then you see 80 conversions, which means 3,000 clicks, 1% would be 30. So you're getting about a 2% buy rate for this thing from all the clicks, but you're not paying like 10 cents on a click like we do, or 20 when we're doing low-end B2C or B2B campaigns. You're paying $2 Canadian. That's like $1.50. So of course, this is like a really hard campaign to make work. But if you would have had them in the webinar funnel and the webinar already liquidates the traffic, all of a sudden this is free money, and the service that you're offering just by people who are interested, watching the webinar, getting that content, and then getting the book and using the extra information to really start their business, even if they can't afford the course, that's a way higher level of service for them, don't you think? Because the webinar almost is like companion information that goes for everybody who wants to get something out of their reach, right? Because you actually teach something in there, as far as I know. And the book, while differently positioned, makes it really hard for you to break even.
So the idea with the book funnel actually leads to the YouTube course as the last step. On the thank you page starts the webinar for the YouTube course. If you go all the way to the book funnel, so you buy the book, there's a order bump into membership program, into thank you page.
We go to this one, then I fill out everything here. Then here's the order bump that has nothing to do. By the way, for just 37, and then here, I don't know if your cart doesn't allow this, but we found that if these things are bigger than the text, they actually get clicked. It's really hard like this. Also, this is super confusing because you click this and people see the price not change. We're going to go into the order page of your webinar. There it's even worse later, but people are really confused because I don't know what I'm paying right now. And I think this isn't working when I click this and nothing changes on this card. Okay. And I think you can actually configure it. Okay, so they go through here, next page, and then they land at the webinar registration page, right?
I don't know. I think it just starts playing the webinar. I don't know if it's a webinar registration page.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they'll have like a video page, stuff like this, and then they can maybe skip or scroll or something, maybe even like the replay page, something like this.
I have to look at it. I don't think you have to register. I think it just starts auto playing. I could be wrong.
Okay, because webinars, when you autoplay them like this, like for example, in our funnels, and I've like just in the last 8 months to give you a little bit of perspective what this means, like in way smaller markets and like European markets mostly, my customers with the webinars we did, we calculated it for a presentation a couple of days ago, 1.9 million euros, so about $2.2 million, give or take, in revenue that they made with this. And one thing we always found was that when you take the webinar and make the replay, where you also can scan and skip, available too soon, it's a disaster, because now people don't have a reason to watch the whole thing anymore. And nobody, not even somebody as talented as Evan and as magical when it comes to being in front of the camera and being highly engaging, can hold like talking into a camera or even talking over slides just by the power of his voice, the attention of people for 2 hours straight, if they have the ability to just click away or do something else, because they're just too curious. Especially if you're doing a good job, they're curious. They want to see what happens next. They don't want to wait for you to finish your slide. And that, of course, destroys all the ability to actually pull sales. That's why we do 2 or 3 re-opt-ins, like sign up for the webinar again, sign up for the webinar again because you missed it, before we actually let them into the replay. The replay is really for people who watch the whole damn thing, or at least enough to see the pitch. And then, hey, if you want to go back into the replay and look something up, it's here on this page. But then this page is a sales page with other things. Just some general tips here, because they become really important real quick.
Yeah. So do you think the last page should be then a webinar sign up? Like, hey, sign up for the webinar?
If you actually want to, we can just like pause and then dig out the pages that are in the funnel, and then I can tell you, because from what I gather, you would actually do a sales video that is just straight up selling the whole thing, not as a webinar, but where you talk into the camera and talk about the product and talk about the benefits and talk about why people should buy it. 15 to 25 minutes with a little bit of the testimonials that you have in there, and with like super focused on the offer. And I would put that at the end of the upsell funnel. Then you can still send the webinar opt-in out via email. But I mean, you know, just from a logical point of view, people already gave you a credit card detail. They already put in all this information. Now you're asking for an opt-in for a webinar. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know why I would do this. Technologically, it's necessary because there's like 15 different software companies intertwined usually in order to make this happen. But what people actually want at this point is something where you take responsibility for their well-being and say, listen, you bought this and you're interested in this. Now, the best way I know how to help you is to give you access to my signature program and get you in there. And this signature program usually costs this much. I will give you a huge discount, but let me first tell you what it's actually about. In this program, I take people like you and bring them, handhold them through the entire process that I use, that I still use to this day for my private coaching clients, and that I will teach until YouTube shuts down every server that they have in order to get you to 1 million subscribers or more. And you will get everything broken down step by step. Even if you've never uploaded a video into YouTube before, you will know how to do it. Let me walk you through what we can actually do there for you. And then what I do in this video is basically I take what we call the main aha moment in our webinar. There's usually 3 or 4 that we put into a sequence, like, you know, it maybe as 3 secrets or something, but like we take the biggest one of this and then a summary of the other ones, and we stuff that in as content for like 3-5 minutes in there. But the beginning is literally what I just gave you, and all of you seeing this, feel free to copy that for your own webinars and for your own sales videos if you like. And then you have this mini content where you just wow them with what this actually changes in their lives and how they can now see themselves doing this. Because before that, they might think they would never get to even 500 views. They might have subscribers. They might have happened to open a channel and nothing happened, which is what usually happens. And then when you show them the case studies or the testimonials of people where you actually work with them and where it worked, and show them your own story a little bit, and then go right into the offer, that's all it takes, because they're already hungry. They already bought from you. Probably they've spent upwards of 20 minutes with you by this point, just going through these pages, maybe having a typo, maybe driving to go find their credit card, fixing something, watching the entire video on the page here before, which is, I think, also over 10 minutes or something. Yeah, 11 minutes. Yeah. And maybe even skipping around in this. By the way, this is why you never, ever, 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 from this point forward, please, and pretty please with a cherry on top, again, use YouTube for sales videos, because this happens as soon as people click pause. And now what do I have to do in order to go? I go back down here and I have to hit this tiny button with my huge paw of a hand in order to play this video. So long story short, they spend a long time with you. Now they are maybe distracted again from your upsell process. Maybe they took one upsell, didn't take the other. You want to have it as frictionless as possible. This is something that we do anyway. This kind of video we usually put on what we call the third sales page. Third sales page is the sales page that people see not right after they come out of your webinar, because they just heard everything you have to say about your offer and they just want to be able to buy. So you have a clean sales page which just summarizes the product, the bonuses, the main benefit, and then gets them to buy the damn thing now, because that's what they came there for. Second sales page is one where you put a video on top where you tag them a little bit inside the course. Like you say basically just, hey, thanks for your interest. Remember this promotion, this discount I'm giving, it's going to run out pretty soon. But before you have to make a major decision, I wanted to show you a little bit of the inside on this course. Let's jump in right now. But listen, this is one of your last chances that you'll get. Then you jump in and just show them the course from the inside for like 5 to 10 minutes, like what's actually being offered, what are the key lessons, and not just show them, but say, hey, and once you go through this, you will get amazing things out of that, because this and this starts happening in your channel, or your YouTube videos will get this kind of performance. And then you can even throw in a testimonial that like underlines that from your slides from the original webinar as a callback. And on the third sales page, that's the one that people see last. and that you run through pages like this, through funnels like this, that's where you really go back into pitching the product, and where you basically assume that after like 5 to 6 days after they were in a webinar, maybe they only were there like for 30 minutes or so, well, they forgot everything, right? They don't even know who you are anymore. They just vaguely remember spending some time with you and finding it interesting enough. And you want to make it juicy for them, like put a fresh steak on their plate. The old one's stale. So or if you're vegan, very nice tofu. I'm a vegetarian too, so I now have to transition for my examples because it used to be a steak aficionado. Long story short, what you do is you give them a little bit of the things that they actually loved about you in the first place. Just like, look at this like dating, when you haven't seen somebody you were trying to build a relationship with for a very long time, after it started like getting a little more hot and heavy, but nothing very serious happened, and then you don't see each other for 6 weeks. The next date you have, it's not going to be starting right where you left off. It's usually more of a like, show me what I liked about you in the first place. And this is what you do in the third search page. This is also genius for upsell pages because they already spend time with you. The only thing you switch is the first 5 seconds where you talk about what they just bought. And then the rest is just making them fall in love with the product, the main thing that you offer, and then close.
So on that thank you page for the book funnel where we lead into the webinar, am I trying to get them to sign up for the webinar? Am I just pitching the full-on product and say you should go sign up for the YouTube?
What are the other products that I pitched in this funnel? Because I didn't go past this. Sorry, I didn't.
Okay, so there's the book. This is the book. The bump is access to some private training that I did locally in Toronto that people paid to come see me do. You get the digital version of it. That's that. Next page goes to a one-time offer, which is I have a membership program where twice a month, every month, I'm in a private group and answering questions and coaching for 85 minutes at a time, twice a month.
That's 49?
Yeah, 49. That's 49 a month. And then that's it. Then you get to the thank you page. I haven't gone through in a while. I think on the thank you page it just starts playing the webinar for the YouTube Growth Bootcamp.
Okay.
So
yeah. There's 2 ways you can go about this if the funnel is like this. I've only seen these 2 work. The one is that I just told you about. You basically just put a full-on short VSL, assuming that people who already invested that much time and money with you are past the point where they need to hear why you know what you do, what you're talking about. They're past the point to where you have to build trust with them. They just need to hear your offer in a way that they can actually see themselves applying what you will give them later and see the benefit for it. So I would go straight into VSL. The other thing is, instead of selling the offer, you could put another video there that sells the sign up, where you just have a video and say, hey, listen, you did this. Now I have something very special for you. We usually charge money for this, or if you don't want to say this because it's simply not true, what you do is we have a very special free training that people loved, and you can sign up for an appointment right now. This is especially valuable for you because you just bought A, B, and C, and this means you're interested in X, Y, Z, and this means once you actually see this training, you will see everything come together much sooner. You can use this alongside. So this training is totally free. I would love for you to take a time on it. There's a couple of time slots available, but do take action on it right now, because if you forget it, then once you will have the book in your hands, you might be busy going through this. But there's actually shortcuts I only share in training to what you just bought right now that will allow you to get this faster. These are the 2 options. Okay. I personally have better experiences with selling directly because, they already invested in you. Why wouldn't they invest more? It's only in our heads that we think the jump between 25, 49, and now 995 is too big. The second thing is I'm not losing anything because this is so deep inside an upsell funnel. If we just take the numbers that are here, 80 people went through the thank you page of buying the book. 80 people. And that's in last, I think 6 months, but I'm guessing it's not that much. I can check how long this campaign has been running. So this is since March. So in the last 3 months, 80 people. That means per month you have 20 people who see this thing. You think it's going to make a huge difference in your bottom line, even if for warm traffic, this thing now converts at 5% instead of 1%. If from those 20 people, 1 person will buy, very likely not. So what you want to do is you just put the least amount of friction in there. You want them to not refund. And that way you don't actually lose the sale. The people that I know that we consulted in order to do the straight pitch for the webinar program usually have an even higher level upsell after the webinar that comes straight after, usually sold via phone then. And also they need to make at least one sale every 20 or every 10 front-end sales from this one in order to make it work. So they will also start retargeting people heavily towards the webinar. They will have different pitch videos towards the webinar in order to give even like the 3 main content parts to teaser them and stuff. And this funnel gets a little more complicated, but that's usually for ultra competitive niches. There isn't exactly a boatload of people out there with 2 million subscribers and growing while using a format like yours where you mainly let other people do the talking and long parts of your videos. There isn't many people out there who can say that they have the growth rates that you have, and there's an even smaller percentage of people who actually have a course about this out there, right? I don't even know many. I mean, I know 1 or 2 people with growth courses, but nobody with your credibility. So and then definitely nobody with the product quality, because you do coaching in there as well, right? So long story short, you do give a huge benefit, and I would frame it as this. But here's the reason I would turn around the entire funnel. And just let me walk you through this real quick, okay? We're going back to where the campaigns are. Now you're spending 6,000 on the book and 3,000 on, this is where all the webinar registrations are coming from. And then there's another 600 down here for the retargeting. I'm not going to look at the search campaign because they're just destined to fail, and you should switch that off immediately. I mean, you did, okay, sorry, but like 3 conversions for $500, of course this can't work. So you're doing retargeting here. Let's look at this real quick. Here on the all conversions, you see those go straight to the checkout page. And then 5,000 people have actually seen the sales page. 5,000 people. So what you're doing here, and this is something where we can fix your entire funnel now in the next 5 minutes and can make this profitable just with this one change. In this campaign, you're running traffic for, and I'm going to shorten this. If you check in what's being retargeted, it's everybody who saw anything you ever did in the last 30 to 540 days, depending on whether it's watching videos on YouTube or actually being on your page. This is all you're retargeting here. Mm-hmm. But what you're doing is, instead of retargeting everybody and then sending them to the webinar registration, you're sending them to the sales page for the course after the webinar. So this is like taking the money, taking a lighter, and burning it. I mean, you make a sale here, yes. So this kind of goes against my point because somebody purchased, but this is the equivalent of saying, you know, I have 5 keys, I have 1 door, I know one of the keys work, but instead of just trying the 5 keys, let's take a sledgehammer and go nuts at the door until it cracks and falls open. Because what you're doing is, and I want to show this to everybody right now, here are your ad groups where we have the same events that we just saw. I'll look at the ads real quick so people can actually see this. This is very, very well done. This is almost exactly what I would want you to put on your page, this video and this, this ad that comes here. Let me real quick go to the preview. Wait a second, the interface is getting clunky. Wait a second.
So you want me to lead people to the webinar registration page again? Or
yeah, just basically. I mean, because those people have never seen your webinar. You were targeting people who were only on your YouTube channel. And that's why you're getting, I should have led with that, by the way. Thanks for, look what you're getting here. You're spending $600. Okay. And now I go to columns, go to performance, and see clicks is already active. So if I scroll, I should see clicks. You get 8,000 clicks for this $600. Are you freaking kidding me? It's 2012 and you're getting 8-cent clicks, but you're sending them to this page, which I can say a lot of things about, but not that it's good. And I'm sorry, but it's black on white. When I come on this page, the countdown is dead. I have a hard time reading this. There is no video, and there is one actually, but it comes down here. And oh no, you have testimonials with pretty much everybody in the world that you could possibly have. And you've been on stage, and you have Brandon and Gary Vee and Tom Liu and Tony freaking Robbins. And then you even have like literally this video exists with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jordan Belfort. You have that too. There is Dean Graziosi again, Elena Cadone. I mean, all the stuff that is great about this page is like not accessible unless I scroll 20 million pages down. But what I see is something I never heard about, most likely, because 90% of the traffic you're retargeting, and I show you this in a second, are people who've never even heard about your webinar existing. And you send your best traffic that you're getting for almost free, who would be interested in the webinar, because as we see in the ad right here, that I can't really show, this is get millions of views of YouTube. They need to see the webinar in order to see how you're going to pull this off, in order to see how this actually can work, how they can see themselves getting that. This is exactly perfect to get them to the webinar. That's the value proposition of the webinar. But then they go here, 99% of them have never heard or even seen of YouTube Growth Bootcamp. Then you have this really amazing 2-step thing. That's actually a 3-step thing, because the first has to pop up. Then for the logo bar, you have to scroll. The offer expires at 11 p.m. PST, but I only see that once I already scrolled. And then you have a text sales page, and your best testimonials start, I don't know, 50 meters down the page, 2 miles down the page. So long story short, this is where you're wasting the most amount of money. These could all, if they go to a page like your webinar opt-in page, actually get you a 10, maybe 15% opt-in rate. Now we do the math on 15% opt-in rate real quick. You're spending $600. You're getting 8,000 clicks. Let's just do 10%. That's 800 new opt-ins for your webinar just from the $600 you spent here. Now we have to go back a few pages just to put this in perspective. I think this will not work, so I'll just click here real quick. Because as I said, 800, and you're spending 3,300 on the webinar campaigns for 500 leads. So on top of what you're spending right now, with all the traffic you're generating from YouTube, because what you're retargeting, as I'll show you in a second, is actually mostly people who saw your channel, you would get at least 800 leads for basically free. And even if only 1% conversion rate would happen, that's 8 sales. You just made $8,000.
So that retargeting is not for people who have already seen the webinar. It's just for people who have gone to my channel?
Right now it's set up, and I can show you this. I'll have to find it real quick because I looked at it late last night, and I'm always good at forgetting this. So we have to go into the audience manager in order to see the audiences that are the retargeting audiences. This will load a little bit. Basically what you're going to see is 2 things. One, you have a lot of different audiences. And then you will see that for remarketing, those audiences are active. And now we look at the webinar page visitors. Those are only 3,000 in the last couple of days. Broadcast room, non-existent. I'm guessing this is old and the pixel isn't working. Here we have another registration page, and this is a range, right? So it can even be as low as 190. YouTube is just guessing, or Google is just guessing. So it might be 3,000. So this is the size of the audience of people that you would be retargeting. But because of your other retargeting audiences being this huge, those don't get any impressions whatsoever because they're just drowned out. They're just drowned out. So now we look at the audience here, for example, and you can see visitors of a page. They're everywhere, and you see where they're used. And of course, this is the retargeting campaign we were looking at the discovery campaign. Now we go back here and see that the campaign we were talking about, we have to scroll down here. It's the display retargeting non-YTB course buyers. Let's go into audiences real quick, where we should see which audiences those are. And then you can see from all the impressions and what you're running money to in this campaign, 180 is going here. And then there's a bunch of stuff that isn't tracked properly inside this filter, but basically you're retargeting nothing but people who have never watched your webinar at all. This is bound to happen because like those people are super adamant. You see here, this is the biggest one, 400 in cost, 0 conversions because they're going straight to the sales page. And those are 1.3 to 4 million people, because those are all your video viewers the last 30 days. This is literally the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow of retargeting audiences for everybody who has a moderately sized YouTube channel. Yours is huge. Your engagement is insane. Every single campaign you should do is just starting out with taking these people, retargeting them straight to the beginning of the funnel. You will make a boatload of money, because right now what you're doing is, on the one hand, you're spending money in order to build your audience. And your audience also organically grows in insane amounts. I mean, how much growth did you have in the last couple of months or something? You told me this, but I still can't believe it.
I don't know, man. We're getting like 400,000 views a day. It's crazy. Right now, it's crazy.
So 400,000 views a day, put this into perspective. This audience of people who actually video viewed should be even bigger. So we have to look in if this is set up correctly and if it includes all the videos and all your channels. But let's just assume that right now this is the ball game. 400,000 a day means retargeting those gets you 10-cent clicks on a display network with those ads you're already seeing for people who want to grow their YouTube channel. Now at these prices, you could sell a $50 or $100 course with a 20-minute VSL and you would easily break even. 10-cent clicks is what we built, the second largest weight loss platform in the entirety of Europe based on, and we were getting 10-cent clicks back in 2012 to 2014. We're getting them right now on YouTube again. Back then it was just display, but that's because we're insane when it comes to hacking this algorithm and building ads like this. You don't even have to try hard. I mean, if we check out the ads, there's nothing happening there. And you can run video ads to those people. You can run display retargeting ads to those people. You can run animated GIFs of a video that is on the page. Like you just take the video, put it into Giphy, have a graphic artist just nail it up a little bit so it looks more polished and gets people to click through. You can use all these ads through the entirety of the internet to the people who are already coming in droves and tens and hundreds of thousands through your channel, and you're not using them. This is literally everything you have to do in order to sell the course. Starting right now, you go back into the retargeting campaign, you switch, maybe you just copy it and don't do anything. So what I would basically do is I'll take this one and this retargeting one, I'll click here, and then I would like either copy and then paste it, and then it's pasted as a draft and I can make a couple of changes, and I would switch the ads landing page. That's the only thing I would switch to the setup page of the webinar. And then the second thing I would switch is I would make sure there's a video on the landing page, because those people haven't seen a video of you right now. This is also, yeah, this is for the webinar. So I would take this video maybe even, and then I would, no, that's not what I wanted to do. So here we have your video ad, right? So just people, this is an 18-second video ad. I mean, my video ads are usually 2 to 3 minutes, but this is awesome. It works. So I would take this video and then go to the page. And then on this page, I would actually put a longer video selling people on the webinar. I would throw away this one because this is what you do for search traffic in order to get better rankings. You don't need this on YouTube, and you definitely don't need this in display retargeting. I would have a short video selling people on the webinar here, maybe a little longer than 18 seconds, and have people register like spot. If you just do this one thing, forget everything I just said, you will make a ton of money on this one if the webinar actually converts for your traffic. We haven't looked at the entire webinar yet. That's the one thing I haven't done. How much in sales do you make in total from the whole course? Can you share or ballpark numbers right now, roughly? Do you have any idea?
That's a good question. It's not a lot. Let me see. It's not a lot. I mean, we're not losing money on the webinar, on the funnel. It's costing us. Let me see. Last month, where are we here? YouTube course. Last month we sold 4,000 and we spent 1,800.
So where would I see this is probably something that's interesting to our watchers right now. Let's just click through real quick. So you go here, you go in campaigns, and you said last month, which means we're just going to look at May 2020. And now you said you spent 1,800. So what we're just going to go is hunt for those 1,800s.
But it's not just YouTube, it's also Facebook.
Okay, so we have about 700 here that we know going to the webinar, and we have a little bit of retargeting here, 400. So of these 1,800, you're already spending over 1,000 in.
It's mostly YouTube. Looking at the numbers, mostly YouTube. It should be 17, about 1,800 Canadian from YouTube.
1,800 from YouTube. Okay, and from Facebook, how much?
500 US.
Okay, so 2,300 in total and 4K making back, give or take, 2,500 with US too. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, so I don't see these sales popping up in YouTube at all. As you can see, this is one sales page being viewed, and then we have replay and checkout page visits. But if I scroll through here, again, I have those 4 sales that are in the wrong channel. So no idea where they're coming from. But other than that, there's actually nothing tracked. What is tracked is the 3,480 sales page views that you're getting because you're sending your best traffic to the wrong page. You would get roughly 350 to 400 opt-ins. If you're doing a bad job, it's only going to be 200, but you get them for free. If you do a good job, meaning you do a video on the page itself, you get pretty decent opt-in rates. You would usually be able to beat your cold traffic opt-in prices, which are quite formidable. Like if we look at this campaign up here, if I combine these two, $106 per sign up, we could get this down to 4 or 3 with a little bit of tweaking on the landing page. But this is pretty okay for starters. And if you run display ads, of course, you have to have the video on the landing page, but other than that, you don't need to fix anything. And then I would go into building it out once you have the conversion going. I would also run retargeting, of course, to everybody who visited any page of the webinar funnel and didn't buy, and just send them back to the opt-in page as well. And only the people who actually were on the sales page or who actually watched the webinar for at least like to the pitch or something, those people get a retargeting ad that gets into the sales page. On the sales page, video top and center, do it white on black, not black on white, and put those testimonials up all the way to the top, please, pretty please, because like it just, whew. And then there was one more thing on this page also, like you have a pretty long sales page, then you have this one. There's a few very confusing things I don't do on checkout pages anymore. And what I would do is lead with this one up here and then do here's what you get, because that gives them more of a reason to actually continue staying on this page. Then these things need to be bigger. Nobody can read them. I hope you guys are seeing this. It's impossible to read even if we zoom in. I tried this as an experiment yesterday. I have to go 150% before I'm able to read these barely. On a desktop and mobile will be either resized or completely impossible. Then they are click for proof, but I can't even see the click for proof. Then it takes some while to load. That's fine. They are autoplay. Those are actually good. This is the videos you're supposed to use on your landing pages. And then what is missing here is the main benefit of the program, like the 1 million subscribers on YouTube and stuff like this. Just your main benefit should be reiterated on the page where people work out their cart. Here the timer is also working, so that's a plus at least. But yeah, this is what I switch. Now we come to the worst thing here. No, here it's easier. I saw a version of this one where I actually didn't know, like there was more text here, and I actually couldn't decide whether that was the same thing. Like it was so confusing that I didn't know that it was the same program. Even here it's a little. But here it says bootcamp on both. I think there's a version of this page where it doesn't do that. The one that you see when you go through the regular funnel, you should check that out. But again, here, if I scroll up and take the order bump, and this is like, I don't actually see this in my totals. I don't know if this is on purpose because it's supposed to lower your to increase your conversions. But I find that doing stuff like this just gets people to believe, when it doesn't change the price, that the page is broken and they shouldn't buy from that because they're afraid of their credit card data getting stolen now. As crazy as it sounds, that's the feedback we've been getting if we put a live chat button in here and people comment on that one. Otherwise, the page is solid, but yeah, this is what I would change here. Then I would, obviously, if you have a normal funnel, this page doesn't come up. And then what I would do is I would start with the retargeting and fix that and put that to a decent page, to the webinar registration page. And once you've done this one, on the webinar registration page, there's a couple more things we can fix. For example, I would not have this one and this one down here and this one down here, but like you have so many amazing testimonials. You should put them front and center, and you should make them readable. I would put just the pictures of you and Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi maybe, or whoever has the biggest following on YouTube from the other two guys that I just pointed out the last time we went over this. I would put their pictures here just so people see that you're larger than life. And then I would take these ones and make them into a little bit like half sentence longer statements of what the benefits are, and try to get almost all of this above the fold. What we do with these ones, by the way, the logo bar, we put them into the top bar actually once, because people subconsciously see it while just skipping past it, and they see things that that they recognize. So yeah, and also don't waste your pre-headline real estate on exclusive free training from Evan Carmichael. If this is supposed to go to cold traffic, like people who just literally clicked on your ads, they don't know who the hell you are yet. They just know you can deliver the goods. So this would be from the guy who's getting more views than Gary Vee and Grant Cardone combined. Presents how to gain X million followers on YouTube, X million subscribers on YouTube, and turn your knowledge, skill, and passion into income, and full-time income, part-time income, 6 figures a year, whatever, but be more precise here. And try also using some stronger adjectives like grow your personal brand using YouTube. Like, yes, that's nice, but what is the benefit that I get out of that? Get people addicted to your content and turn them into true fans who can't stop talking about you or something on YouTube. Like, be a little bit more like you are in your actual videos, because there you're like really benefit focused. You tell people as it is. You tell them how their life changes when they act on what you do. So put this on your page. That's the second thing I would fix. I would fix the retargeting, and I would fix the page. And for the retargeting, this would be an actual video. And then I would start building a new campaign, because what we actually do in order to grow YouTube and grow with YouTube first, and before we ever think about Facebook for webinars, is we do some targeting you're not even using. I asked you to prepare a list. Did you manage to get around those lists before the call?
I don't have it here, but let me open it up.
Sure. While you do that, I'll tell the audience what we're talking about. So in order to do YouTube targeting like a professional, really, really well from the get-go, the only thing you have to know is who's big in your market in terms of either websites or YouTube channels. And that means not necessarily who's doing the same thing as you, but your core audience, the people you do your course for, your coaching program for, who are they following as well? Which content are they consuming? Whose websites are they on? And then you list them up in just a neat text file format. And this is literally all we need to do, because we can literally target those people. Most people don't know when they start with YouTube and the advertising platform that is Google that's behind that. Because there's so many options, right? I mean, just look at the left-hand side of this one. There's like 100 different settings. And like once I start building a campaign, there's also 100 different settings. But there's only 3 you need in order to actually be successful on them. And if you use anything else, at least for YouTube and Google Display Retargeting, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Now, granted, you've seen already some special campaigns here with Evan's views campaigns. Those very few people can actually pull them off profitably. We have different products that we're pushing, but where we actually want to target is who's big in that industry and who gets a large audience that is like-minded to the people that my product would be suitable for. So everyone who follows other people who talk about how to grow your YouTube channel, how to grow on social media, how to grow reach for digital marketing purposes or for your own brand. All of those guys are perfect fits. And we can, like, even if you want, we can demo a campaign right now for those people and actually make one for you that you can later on like tweak and then run. We don't have to spend any money right now, but we can build it right now real quick if you want to.
Okay, so for the 10 websites or 3 or whatever, there's two camps. If you're looking at just who consumes my content, not everybody who watches my content wants to have their own YouTube channel. So it's a
That's why I
sub-segment.
said not the people who are you or the people who are watching your content, but the people who would be interested in what you have to offer in the product that you want to promote.
So then be other like how-to YouTube channels, how to grow on YouTube, those
How
kinds
to grow
of
on
people.
YouTube, how to grow on social media, how to be a better influencer, how to sell stuff with video, anything
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. So I know those guys.
Cool. Then let's just jump right in. We click on campaigns, click new campaign. I'm just going to do this from scratch. So we want to go for leads because we're really not interested in anything else at this point. And this really doesn't matter, but because we're going to YouTube, of course, we're starting with video. And I'm going to be really, really brief. If you want to see me do this in a longer format, there will be a link in the description where I have an entire training on the whole process. But like for now, let's just get this done. So we want to drive more conversions, of course. And then we have the new campaign settings. So we're going to call this Thorsten tortures Evan, so we know what we have to fix later. And then there's two settings we really have to make a big decision here. Do we already know what a lead should cost or do we not? And we just want to be very conservative. So if I click target CPA right now, usually it suggests something for you. And here, look at this. Google suggests you have to spend between 100 and 140 because it doesn't know what you mean with leads at this point. Which event, on which website, could be your, it takes the conversion that is like getting some traction, but like, for example, this is probably based on the $80 you're spending on a book sale right now. So don't be confused by that. We usually start out with maximize conversions, or when we know we can't spend more than a certain amount, we take that amount here. The last technique that you can do if you really advance this is you overbid. That wins you a couple more auctions in the beginning. But let's not get into this right now because quite frankly, we're just going to get this done. This is a daily budget. As I said, this will be paused in the beginning. So let's just start out with 100 Canadian dollars because the sale is worth 10 times as much for you. So you should actually be spending, your goal should always be to spend as much as a sale is worth to you per day in the shortest period of time, because traffic is never an issue with YouTube. There's so much traffic there that there's never going to be any shortage. So we want to be on YouTube, not on the search results, but on the videos. And just to be extra conservative, I take the partners out on the display network because there you never know where your video is actually showing. Languages, we do English, of course. And I don't know why you would only target Canada. So let's enter another location and do, just for the purposes of being brief, United States. What I would, of course, do here for every English-speaking product is anything from Hong Kong, New Zealand, Australia, Great Britain, and of course the States and Canada. And then whatever else you come up with. You can even go to like very English-friendly countries in Europe, like Sweden, like the Netherlands, and maybe if you're feeling lucky, you can do Germany because there's big parts of Germany who like now speak English. I know we don't sound like that, but we actually do. And this is, by the way, a tip. If you're selling information, not going overseas is the most stupid, it's one of the stupidest things you can do, because those people are just as interested in your courses, but they are usually forced buying from either your competition or the people over there who know that you're not advertising to them, and then just rip off your course or your product and do it in their language and do a bad version of it and then make money off your own like knowledge without you actually getting a chance to actually get a part of that pie. Last and most important parts, depending on who you're running advertisement for, you have to be very careful where you show your videos. Like you don't want any profanity if you do a brand campaign being in the way or something like this. But if I run my own ads, I just don't care and I choose expanded inventory because I know I only pay if people actually watch the video, and I don't judge people for what they do in their free time. I just want them to get the best benefit possible out of the information that I have for them if they're actually wanting to get that. So I would choose this, but you can usually start with standard inventory. Then types and labels. You used to have to exclude games. You definitely exclude live streaming. And we don't want to run on embedded videos as well, because both of those things are usually tend to be videos where people are very adamant about wanting to watch what they currently are doing. They're either on the page. And then you can exclude content for mature audience, not yet labeled. But this is so much in flux right now that I usually leave this one on or off, and I actually test with this on a regular basis. It doesn't make this much of a difference, to be sure. But if you have something that's geared towards a younger audience, of course, switch those off, because these are exclusion labels, not inclusion labels. But if you have a campaign and want to scale it later, switching this off can give you an extra edge. Site links we don't know, and now we're getting to the ad group, and now I do just TTE real quick because we don't need to write the whole thing out. And now we're getting into demographics. Now, real important when you set these campaigns up, unless you really know for sure, because this is a weight loss campaign for women, never switch off the gender. Just leave it, and never switch on unknown, especially if you're coming from Facebook. Most people switch off unknown. We get 90% of our traffic from unknown sometimes for either gender or age. And the usual exclusion we do if we're selling a product over $100 is we exclude 18 to 24s, because they usually just don't have the money. And the rest we leave as is. And then we get to audience targeting. And here is where the interesting part comes in, why we're doing all this. So you said you do have a little bit for us. In audiences, I could like search for ideas. We're not going to do that right now. We're going to go straight to websites or placements. And here you can either add YouTube channels, websites, or a bunch of other stuff. You said you have websites, so let's put them in. What are websites of people that you would like me to put in here? If you want to email them.
You want websites, not channels? Okay, websites. There's two software tools that we can target. One would be TubeBuddy, T-U-B, yeah, TubeBuddy.com.
Cool.
The other one is vidIQ.
You usually want to, like, if you do this and it doesn't show anything related to that page data, you want to make sure that you actually get it right. vidIQ, also.com, or is it .io?
No, .com.
So this is software tools. This is great.
So people who are going to those pages have a YouTube channel they're trying to grow.
Also extensions, maybe. Do you know any browser extensions? Like Social Blade used to be big. I mean, that's not my
Social Blade is still big. It's just not only YouTube. Social Blade does Instagram, does a bunch of other things.
That's okay. If people are dying on Instagram, they will be interested in finding out how to find the easy mode on YouTube.
Okay,
especially
Social Blade.
Social.com.
Yeah. And then there's the consultants, people who sell this as a service.
Yeah.
So you want those guys?
Yeah, sure. Just like the biggest guys in the business that either sell this as a service or that at least have content about it. Like if it would be Facebook, there's guys like John Loomer. Everybody who does Facebook marketing reads that guy's blog. But like pages that are big, I have an actual way of finding those signs if I don't have ideas. But you're so deep in your niche that I guess we can just like riff them here. I can show the way real quick later.
So Tim Schmoyer is Video Creators. Sorry, it's Video Creators. He's the guy, but the website is Video. His YouTube channel's, Video Creators, .com. Let's see what Daryl Eves is just DarylEves.com, DERRAL Eves, EVES V.
Eves. Okay.
Eves, there you go. .com. What's Nick Nimmin? Nick Nimmin. Let's find his website. Oh, just Nick Nimmin. So Nick, Nim. It's I-N. Nick Nimmin. I-N. Yeah. NickNimmin.com.
Yeah, do that with a non-native speaker. I mean, you're torturing me here. I should have renamed the campaigns Evans Tortures Torsten. But okay.
Yeah, there you go. Who else? Roberto Blake. What's his website? RobertoBlake.com. So Roberto Blake, .com. There you go.
And probably there's also guys who are like who are posts on this stuff. Ty Lopez and so on.
Ty Lopez. I don't know if he has a YouTube course.
No, but yes, growing your social media agency and growing your social.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. Now we're getting off of YouTube, but sure. Yeah. Social media agency, Ty Lopez, whatever. Go for it. Sean Cannell, SEAN. CANNELL.com.
Okay. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9. Let's do one more and then we're good for now.
Let's just look up where Little Monsters is. Little Monsters, Matt Gielen. What's his website? Little Monster Media Co.com. Little Monster Media Co.com. Yep.
Beautiful. That gets a lot of SEO traffic, I'm sure. Okay, so let's see. We have those. If you have the segmentations like we did have right now, where you know, okay, these guys are coming from software, these guys are focused on mainly YouTube, these guys are consultants, and then we have guys who are just about social media growth. What you can do is as you can see, we started an ad group like from this point on. You can just create different ad groups for these particular niches, because usually you will end up wanting to do, like for somebody who's already so far ahead in the game that they're using software every single day, you want, hey, are you busy? Want to do an ad like, hey, are you busy checking your subscriber growth on vidIQ or Vita or whatever, or TubeBuddy 15 times a day, and you're just not seeing the numbers that you want to see? Check out my new training on how to grow your subscribers to 1 million. So you would actually
like the website targeting better. Like all of these guys, except for Social Blade, probably have a bigger YouTube channel than website traffic. So you like targeting the website, not the YouTube channel.
The reason we're targeting the website first is for 2 reasons. One, the YouTube channel just means I really target the YouTube channel. The website actually means that if there is a Google Analytics pixel or B, Google AdSense running on that site, and Google will know a lot more about the audience of the website, including which other channels they frequent, than I do in almost all cases. Meaning when you do this, we can actually skip a little bit to the end, and I'll try to show you this. I think I can show you this here. Yes, here I should be able to show you this if that's not the retargeting one. Yeah. So if we check under placements, there's 2 tabs. There is placements, which would be what we just put in, and this is there you're running against your own channel, right, or somebody else's channel, not yours. There you see where they actually ran, and you can see you were targeting A and you were getting B, and a lot of Bs. Like there's Dan Lok, there's Video Influences, there's Chaos, there's Daryl Eves that we just had in the list, and ODI Productions and so on. So this is where you actually were spending your traffic. And you can see that your cost per conversions vary slightly depending on who you were spending money on. For example, here you spend $200 with Dan Lok, which makes sense. Everyone in Dan Lok's audience is about making sales and copywriting, and that's all adjacent to growth. So these guys want to make money. So this is actually who you're targeting, by the way. You're thinking about people who want to like build their YouTube channel, but who you're actually working for or who's actually interested in your product. It's everybody who needs traffic. So of course, these guys are trigger happy. Video influencers, they probably have seen the same value proposition a couple more times than Lok's folks. They're a little bit jaded, less impressed. Chaos, I don't know. I think Media and those guys, I don't know. And then we come into the land of 2 little impressions. But you can see here, like what I would do from this screen is I would now break out a placement ad group just for Dan Lok and just go heavily after his audiences and maybe the video influencers guys in his audience, because you see there's quite a lot of impressions there, some significant amount of traffic. So it would be useful to spend more there, because otherwise I'll just be wasting my time and I'll never grow. But this is the nitty gritty. In order to get that data, we go here, we put in their websites, and now we will be running both on their channels and on channels that people who frequent their website also watch. And then this list that we have here that's relatively short, that's relatively short, and with just 9 things, becomes thousands of pages long. And if you just filter for the ones that gave you more than 100 clicks, for example, you will immediately see that there's huge differences between cost per conversion between these. And you can, within like 15 minutes, go and actually find the people that you should really be going after, where the perfect mixture of people who are interested in your topic and people you would have not naturally thought that you're already reaching with your own channel, and the people that you already think of as in your market would reach are. And those guys you can go after with a vengeance, because nobody else does this. Literally, you would be the only one who even does this. And everything else we've talked about so far is actually more advanced than this one, because this is just how you start. So we have 10 placements. We can add them here. Now, if we want to get it really messy, of course, we can put YouTube channels in here. Let's put a few YouTube channels in here that we already know will work. So for example, we would put dance in here because we just saw that working. But the thing is, this also takes ages. And that's why I hate doing it, because you see how long this took. And now what would the next channel that you would put in here, which guys?
Think Media was one that showed up on the other list. So that's also Sean Cannell. We have his website there.
Yeah. Let's see if that comes up like this, because in terms of the generic, you could also just copy paste the URLs of the channels and put them in there as websites. That works too, and that works a little faster. So yeah, Think Media. Let's do one more. Then yeah. So we have them down here. Just give me one more YouTube channel, and then we'll wrap this up.
Go with Derral Eves. DERRALEVES.
Yo. Okay, so we have them showing up neatly tucked under here. We'll have this one, and now we would just search for a video. Do you happen to know something I could search for in order to find your video ad? Probably not.
Oh man, I have no idea.
Okay, did we have it open in the preview somewhere? No, probably not. Yeah, here. Because what we can do is go on Stats for Nerds, and if I'm not mistaken,
also in the link. I think it's the VS one at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is also the demo video, so I have to check, because you can see this is force ad. So pretty sure if I remove this, it just shows the demo video. So I actually need to do this, and this gives me your ad. Yes.
Oh, all right. There you go. I'm learning something new. I'm learning lots new, actually.
There you have your ad. So this ad is not perfect for cold traffic, actually, because you do a value proposition, but you leave a little bit more to be desired. You could make the ad a little bit longer. It's perfect in terms of speed to call to action. But what's missing here from a classical ad that really works very well is results for other people. You have huge social proof because of your 2 million subscribers, but this thing would get a significant amount of clicks on top of that, just if you show 3 guys' faces. And so I could help this guy to go from here to there, this guy from here to there, and this guy from here to there. Take consulting clients, take people that you just help behind the scenes, doesn't matter. You will always find 1 or 2 people who are willing to put their face on and say, not even they say themselves, Evan, help me. Literally, you go in this ad and you just make sure that their face shows up. Like, let's go to the frame where you can see you. Let's say here, instead of the lovely Steve Jobs shot, you actually have the face of the guy and not your cameraman visible there in the background and the reflection of your iPhone, and then his stats underneath. Or you can put the face of the guy on the right and his stats and the testimonial text on the left. This works really well, especially with ads in the first 10 to 15 seconds on YouTube, because this actually makes people want to watch longer. You have a great thing going here. Your view rates are okay, but the conversion rates later tend to be influenced by that. So now we need a final URL. That is your landing page URL, which I don't have open right now. So I'll go back to this one and we throw that in here. And then like call to action. I'll butch this right now. Free training, and actually you're not allowed to use caps, but I keep forgetting. And then you can upload an image or make it user generated, and we just call this test ad TTE because we decided that's the name of this format. And then you have the preview here, you have the right ad, you confirm this thing, and then you can continue to campaign. It usually starts paused, but you can see right now it's already live. So I'll pause it real quick. So you're not wasting any money on this one, because we could literally run this right now. This would be good to go. But now you would keep this running. I would trim this. I would look at it for like 2 days. What usually happens with campaigns like this, if the ads are performing and if I didn't pick the wrong channels, which I know we didn't because you're already running on the Nlock and working well there, unless you're now competing too heavily with somebody who has only very few people that actually like you, but those people like you very well, what happens is you get the same prices or better than you're used to getting if you use the same ads. The targeting is right in place, and within usually 10, maybe 20 hours, as you can see right now, if I switch this on real quick because I just want to show you something. On the ads tab, this won't be live yet because the ad is still under review. This happens all the time, even if you're using videos that you already had. And now once this goes through review, you're going to start seeing campaigns. Now, we didn't go into the tracking, the UTM campaign links and stuff. If you want to put them in there and want to do a bunch of additional URL options, you can. Definitely didn't put in the best call to action in the world. I would now go back in what's working for you, come up with a list of 5 or 10 and split test those, but or at least 3 or 4. But this is now a solid basis. And now what I would go do with that list of websites is I would go to either SimilarWeb or Alexa. Usually I start with SimilarWeb. Then let's do one thing to show the people how we roll. Who was the biggest of the one you just gave me in terms of what you think also website traffic wise?
Well, Social Blade probably, but it's not only YouTube.
That's okay, because we know those people are interested in your topic. Now, Social Blade can help you track YouTube channel statistics, Twitch user, blah, blah. So they're still focused on YouTube, global rank, country rank, blah, blah. What I want to see is this, competitors, similar sites. And some of these, in rare cases, like it's like right now, but some of the times, yeah, this page is too big, so we are only seeing things.
Okay, then put Daryl Leaves in. Put Daryl Leaves in and see what shows up.
Yeah. So like what you basically want to pick is a page that is big in its own category, and it has some traffic. Did I put the right one?
Daryl Leaves, yeah, not big enough. Okay, so we gotta go in between these two. Yeah. That's him.
Okay, so there.
Go Dan Lok then. Go Dan Lok.
Yeah, I was just about to put Dan Lok because people who run traffic are usually the ones like they have to run traffic to their website. That's the usual. You can see here category finance, high ranking, everything in the less than $1 million in the States is fine. So now you know that you're right on the money. You put competitors down here and you see Dan Penna is great, lifestyle business. 2 or 3 of these will work out very great for you. My success. And because, you know, the logic is very simple. So people who are interested in Dan Lok's audience, in you, clearly think strategically about the fact that if I grow my subscribers, Dan has a huge amount of subscribers. And he always says in his videos, just put your content out for free and you'll get enough leads to sell to for the rest of your life. And that's basically what they believe in. So once they're infected with their mindset to do it. But everyone else who doesn't say that still will have people in there that need more traffic. If you have a premium or try the demo, you can actually get way more. That is pretty good. And we also do the same spiel on Alexa.com. Which has nothing to do with the voice assistant. This has been around way longer.
Yeah.
Goes to find the top side, and then we put Dan Lok in here. The beautiful thing about SimilarWeb that you have here is you have these categories. So if there would be a category, social media marketing, or a category, YouTube tutorials or something, this would show up here. And then you would click the category and you would see the top 10 pages, top 20 pages in this thing. And you could just pick 10, pick 100. And this would fill a lot of campaigns, especially if you sign up for a trial. I mean, it costs some money, but you would run money on ads anyway, right? And the most you can pay with the monthly is $199 a month. Then you get enough searches to fill thousands of campaigns just to get you started. I'm not making advertisement for them, but it works. And these are the tools of the trade. Now we have the analysis here, and you also get different ones. And the beauty is between the 10 sites you saw on SimilarWeb and the 4 sites you see here, you of course can put all of these back into the same or the other website each. In this way, with a little bit more legwork, you also grow a huge list of people to target. And therefore, when we go in and build these out, we usually spend like half an hour here, maybe 10 minutes in the Google keyword tool, by the way, because they're also very helpful. And then, of course, with Google Trends to round it up and Alexa and SimilarWeb, you get a list of like maybe a couple hundred websites even to target. And then once you run them for a little while under placements, you have the list of the people you were actually placementing. And some of these might not actually show up with any traffic, especially if you target websites, because think about it, you're running a YouTube ad to YouTube videos. We just targeted websites. Of course, none of the traffic you are buying is going to show up here because they're not running on their website. We just excluded people embedding videos, but it will show up here. And right now, of course, it doesn't because the campaign isn't live yet, but it will show up here, and then you'll see who you're actually running for. And in order to optimize that, all you have to do is once a week, go in there, trim the fat, meaning exclude the pages or the channels where you're getting lots of clicks and lots of views, but nobody actually opts into your webinar, and break out some of the channels that you see working and add them as channels, because clearly that is working for you. And the way YouTube works is they run you through a series of videos, they run you through a series of different content pieces, of course, and the algorithm watches that, and when you're reacting to that, they will put you in certain lists, and then you show up in these buckets. But with the targeting, the problem is that you will run out of budget way quicker than YouTube has time to, in all these channels where somebody might have clicked your ad, actually now run extra traffic to that channel and optimize. So if you're seeing 5-10 conversions in one channel, immediately go in and target that channel directly if it has more than 100,000 views per month, because you will see you get a lot more mileage out of it than what you would get naturally, unless you do bonkers shit like I did back in the time. And when we were running the largest display campaign in Europe for 2 years in a row, we just went and spent 20 grand a day on pretty much everything we could get our hands on, and then trimmed 3K the next day, and then spent that 3K again somewhere else. And for Germany, this was basically the largest campaign there was. We actually got more clicks from Display Network than the top 3 of other companies. That included BMW, which is like $100 billion a year company, and we were bootstrapped. So this stuff works. It's insanely powerful. Be very careful with the budgets you set, because just as in Facebook, they will be spent, but you will see stuff popping up here that will work really well for you.
You emailed me quickly about there was no buy button on the replay of the webinar.
Yeah, and in one of the webinar replays that I got, I think the first one, after you go all the way to the end, there's no buy button. Like you stay in the room, like, I don't know if we have, yeah, we have your room open. Actually, here you see it already. This is your webinar. There's no buy button. So I can't tell you why this happens. Probably it is there, but only for a short period of time or something. Here maybe, but what you do is you do a timed chat too, actually, that comes in when you first have the call to action. Then you take, like, when a good bonus comes, or when your guarantee comes, and then as time chat messages at the end, and you do, of course, the buy button. But like right now, I wouldn't even know how to buy this. Like there's literally no option.
Yeah.
And as you can see here, this actually blocked a pop-up. So yeah, I can tell you why. You switched on the option that instead of having a buy button, this is supposed to redirect you straight to the buying page at the end. That doesn't happen, so the pop-up gets blocked. So the process that would show the buy button instead doesn't actually run. So you're shooting yourself in the foot twice here, because not only you don't have any audio, but the few people who make it to the end of the site, if they actually like blink for 1 second or don't see the URL to type it manually, which is why we put URLs that people can actually remember and type in at the bottom of the page that redirect to our buy pages too, like for at least 5-10 minutes in the webinar. That's where we actually would get some of the sales back, and then of course they get emails. But yeah, I would look at this definitely also, because that's just a technical hiccup that doesn't need to be there. So like, to put it bluntly, you have some amazing fans. You must have people who love you to death, who buy everything that they can get their hands on. Because right now, this campaign going to somebody who doesn't have your kind of audience and has to just work with very cold traffic, I would call that on arrival. Like, sorry, don't even need to resuscitate. That's like brain dead for a couple of hours. Not because it couldn't made to work. The ads are great. The funnel is awesome in most parts, but there are a few like things that just kill you and make you spend insane amounts of money. And you see, by the way, that it's mostly warm traffic right now, because quite frankly, you wouldn't get 60% show up rates without a video and with printing the email on the thank you page in a webinar where people didn't know you before from an 18-second ad. because on the thank you page, if you remember, there wasn't even like the main value proposition again. There was just a picture with you that well. So people aren't even like inclined to follow through that much. There's a couple more things you could change here. Like this is very generic. You should like not have the big headline, register your spot. It's get the main benefit now. Take out the quiz. Same thing with the testimonials that I told you before. This is also great, but you should really get into bolding the part that you want people to remember. And then like you're all set. We could fix probably the landing page in less than an hour. Then I would go over the webinar with you for like maybe a 2 to 3 hour session after having a time to really look at it in depth. But this funnel could easily, with the amount of traffic you're getting for this cheap, could make you $20,000 to $50,000 every single month, unless I'm misreading the market. But I think there is a huge market for what you're doing, because literally every single social media marketing agency wants your knowledge in the portfolio when people are asking questions about how to grow by social media. Every single freelancer who does it, every single influencer who can afford it. By the way, last tip for that, if you run several emails after the webinar was watched, third or fourth email should be all about the fact that you have payment plans. Maybe even offer a lower tier payment plan. So like if your standard payment plan is 4 times $299, then also offer $149 for 8 times, if that works for you. Because now we're getting into the traffic where people would have never bought because they can't afford it. But if you give them a smaller monthly rate, they will actually hop on board and become one of your greatest brand advocates for life. Because you do it late. If you do it in the beginning, everybody chooses the $149 tier, and you will have tire kickers, lots of refunds, and people who just don't take action. But people who have clicked and opened your 5th and 7th email and just can't afford it, they're super happy for that. Last but not least, you see this where I showed this is quite the treasure trove. Here we have, if you look at the long list, and I'm going to show you this and as a little bit of a parting gift, this is why I know you could do serious damage if you would set up this correctly. If I just am on the first 500 things here, like where you're all running ads, because this is now, I think, account wide. Pretty sure this is all your campaigns. Yeah, you can see that from the 6,000 you spent, from the one that can be tracked here, because you have a few that can't, like you're getting conversions almost across the board for very cheap prices. And then you have these crazy things, which were probably switched off by now, which is the top 10 thing, which is actually not conversion tracking. And then we have like these single ones where the conversions are even cheaper. And like those guys got 65 impressions. Motivate yourself. Like all these smaller channels could potentially, if the campaigns were set up in a way where they could actually be explored by YouTube with more than a few hundred impressions per week or month, could turn out to be huge winners, because these conversion prices are, of course, insanely low. Of course, we have to check which kind of conversion it is. It's always bad if you have a landing page conversion set up, like landing page view, for example. But here you see those are actually webinar registrations. So you got a webinar registration here from these guys for 16 Canadian dollar cents. That's like nothing. And then 65 and 2. So like if you have a campaign manager, is even the fact here, Tony Robbins, 1 cent, and this is all you're running through the channel. I mean, I think you can get a couple more of Tony Robbins guys. I just
let's go. Come on, Tony.
So this is the main thing. This is where the optimization works. And once you have that dialed in and have somebody looking at this almost every week, all you do is check that devices are working. Like for example, you have TV screens turned on, which thankfully you're not spending that much money on, but it's an insane waste of time because nobody interacts with their remote on their TV screens. So when you create campaigns, please switch that off. We didn't show that live right now because I went over that particular setting a little quicker, but go in there and check for devices. Maybe I can show it right now for the audience real quick, and switch off the TV screens, because you can never get a conversion from a TV screen. I mean, what they're supposed to do, take their remote and like move a mouse cursor in order to then subscribe. And then they're unlocked in TV is subscribed to your channel. Yeah, right. That's not going to happen. Where's the new campaign we did? It's probably not going to be here because, of course, I did it now.
It's at the bottom of the green. Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, I'm too impatient.
It's the last green one. So yeah, there. Yeah, there it is.
Here. And then you go back into the settings. And now I'm doing this live, of course. Set labels. Here.
Yeah, there
devices, and then specific, and you switch on TV screens. Ideally, what you also want to do is every campaign you set up, you can set up one from computers and one from mobile phones and tablets, because you will notice, especially on webinar campaigns, very distinct differences. If you run straight to computer and get the same lead prices that you get on mobile, you at some point will start turning mobile off until you have your emails dialed in, but you will be getting sales from the people who are already on a laptop, clicking through and then starting the webinar immediately, not having to bridge the whole thing because, like, as I said, on a phone, it's horrible. This needs to be switched on. And then we click save, and then frequency capping. This is for retargeting. If you are somebody who wants to appear in your people's lives with your retargeting, but doesn't want to annoy the hell out of them, make sure you cap the impression frequency to, I would say, at the most 5 a day or 2 a day. This is already pretty aggressive. That means the first 3 websites they visit that have, or 5 websites they visit that have Google ads on them will show you. And if they then ignored you for a while, I know people who put this on 20 and who don't put one in, but like, I want people to forget that I exist and then remember I exist and then think, yes, this was good, I'm going to go in there. What happens when you don't do yet, you can see whenever Tai Lopez is actually running lots of campaigns, because you can just day by day watch how his subscribers are going down, because people are subscribed to him. Like, pretty much everybody in this market has been a subscriber from him at some point, to him at some point. And now that he's running ads again, then they see, oh, well, yeah, I'm subscribed here. I'm not interested in this particular topic, because one day he talks about agency, one day he talks about e-commerce, one day it's about MentorBox. So this doesn't interest me, bam, unsubscribe. So he actually lowers his subscribes. The way to reduce that is just frequency cap this and make sure you don't show up in their feeds and websites wherever they search and stuff every single day. Now, we could go into video ads for retargeting and into different stages of retargeting and how to fix the sales page. And of course, the webinar, because that's what I usually do. But quite frankly, it's been 1 hour and 45 minutes. Even my throat is getting a little dry. How about yours?
My throat's not that dry, but my head hurts. I'm getting dizzy. I'm gonna have to look over this, give it to my team, and I mean, massively appreciative. We're gonna apply. We're gonna apply and hopefully get some good results from it. If you want to see the strategy behind my YouTube funnel, check out my one-on-one with Marion Asanu. The link is right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.